Hey Pool Chasers, this episode is brought to you by Merlin Industries. Each Merlin liner is custom designed and manufactured in 100% North American virgin vinyl. That means no offshore material and no reground material. They also offer some of the most impressive lead times in the industry. To check out your special offer on vinyl liners, visit merlinindustries.com/poolchasers. Thank you for joining us today in episode 94 of the Pool Chasers podcast. As always, our mission is to help educate and inspire in the form of a podcast. Have you ever been to a bid, spent an hour or more there figuring out what the customer wants exactly or what they may need for their system to work properly, and then you spent even more time putting together the quote only to find out that the customer doesn't have the money at this time to get the work done? I know I have, and I know it can be very frustrating and sometimes even discouraging. Well, what if I told you there was an answer for all of that? And that answer is Lyon Financial. They not only do a great job financing new builds and remodels, but they have options available for that automation upgrade your customer has been wanting or that new heater that they have been putting off for years. Their finance options start at only $5,000. If we had known about this at Brothers Pool Service, it would have been a game changer for us. We have plenty of opportunities to offer this to our clients, and I'm sure you're thinking of several right now that you can offer it to. During the episode, we go over who Lyon is, everything that they offer, and break down many financial terms so that you have a better understanding of how to offer this option to your clients. So, you're probably thinking that all sounds great, but I don't know where to get started. Well, we have worked with our friends at Lyon to create a checklist on how to get set up to offer financing, as well as a few sample emails to get you started. This checklist explains exactly what you need to do, that way you can become a preferred vendor. We encourage you to download it now by going to the episode webpage on our website, poolchasers.com, or clicking the link below. Please enjoy this episode with Sarah Bess of Lyon Financial.
Welcome to your go-to podcast for the pool and spa industry. My name is Tyler Rasmussen.
And my name is Greg Villafania. And this is the Pool Chasers Podcast.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Sarah. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us.
Yeah.
Can you please introduce yourself to our listeners and just, a little bit about how you got to where you are with Lyon Financial today?
Yeah, most definitely. My name is Sarah Bess. I'm the Director of Marketing and Dealer Services for Lyon Financial. I started with the company in May of 2015, so coming up on my 5-year anniversary. I was previously in the automotive industry. I was in sales prior to coming to Lyon. I had a big change in my personal life. I got married and became a mom, so I needed a career change that wasn't going to make me work 10-hour days every day of the week. So I applied online with Lyon Financial, and I was interviewed probably 5 or 6 times and finally given a shot and have been there ever since.
Very good. Thank you. And where are you at exactly?
We are located in Mooresville, North Carolina. So we're on the East Coast.
Okay. And just going, back a little bit, you want to tell us a little bit about how you were raised and all that good stuff?
Yeah, most definitely. So I grew up in Gastonia, North Carolina, about an hour away from Mooresville. Grew up single mom, just me and my younger sister. Pretty basic, simple life. Didn't have a lot. We went to Christian school all my life, my sister and I. So Tyler and I are Christian school kids for life.
Yeah.
So I grew up Christian school from kindergarten to graduation. I think it taught me a lot about morals, faith, kind of figuring out the world on your own versus going to, say, like public school, which nothing's wrong with that. It just gave me a better insight into how I make decisions and how I go about really my day-to-day life. So.
Yeah. Did you go to the same exact school?
Yes.
Yeah.
I graduated with 28 people. Probably half of those I've known since I was like 5. So that prepubescent stage and all of that. So these people, we really grew up together. So.
Yeah. We graduated with 20. Greg actually graduated with us at that school, but I had been there from kindergarten. So there's 7 of us that had been there from kindergarten and graduated. And we had like these pictures of us riding these ponies in preschool. And like there's 7 of us on these ponies, and then like the 7 of us in graduation gowns. They kind of did this whole thing and like gave us these weird pins, but it was really funny. And that's a pretty unique thing, I think, having 7 people you've known since you were on the preschool playground.
I always tripped out that you went to the same school from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade.
I know.
And I went there, I'm like, this is such a small area, like such a little school to have been here literally your whole life, where I've been to like 20 schools in 3 different states at this point. But yeah, I always thought that was crazy that it's like, I'm a senior now, and I walk over here by lunch, and this is where I was when I was in the 1st grade. Walk by this every day.
They still have like the preschool section was separated from the rest of the school a little bit, and they still have like the little trikes that they had when I was a preschool. the little trikes you drive around. So I remember walking by there all the time, like, man.
That's an 88 Schwinn right there. That's
probably
vintage. Yeah, that's worth something.
Yeah, I remember homeroom, geometry, and like chemistry were all in like the same classroom like for 4 years, and so it was fun. I got a great education. It was great. So
yeah.
I do any sports?
No, I was the anti cheerleader. I was of the Christian school kids. I was a little pop punk person, so I would like dye my hair jet black and wear band T-shirts I shouldn't have. So unfortunately, I was the antithesis of the typical Christian school kid. But that's
we
all
definitely
right.
would have been friends. Yeah.
I think you're like the exact person though that goes to a Christian school, rebels, wants to do their thing, gets tattoos, does their thing. And it's like, there are like half of that people that are that, and then there's half people that kind of stay on the goody two shoes path. But it's kind of, I think, typical if you go to a Christian school that you find those kids and you're like, yeah, that's the kid that likes to just go against all the rules.
Yeah, that was, I have quite a few stories, but I will share them later. So
need to have like a, Christian school podcast.
Oh, I'm
just
sure.
talk about all the memories of being in a Christian school.
Yeah, I have quite a few good stories. So
I think you're right though. Like I think it definitely gave us a little bit of a step up of guidance on how to make decisions. And we had chapel every Thursday, and we had these specific Bible classes we had to take and different things, which really helped with morals and explaining how life works. I think that a lot of people don't get, at going to a public school. So there were definitely advantages to that, as well as being at a small school. We played football, we did sports. I don't think I was good enough to be on the sports field at a public school. So it's really cool. I got male athlete of the year for our senior year, and I don't think I would have gotten that at a public school. So, it's really cool to kind of take advantage of some of those, different opportunities that are there.
right.
Definitely. So what exactly is your position at Lyon Financial?
Yeah, so with being director of marketing and dealer services, I really handled 2 large parts of the company. Number 1, marketing and advertising all falls under my realm. I manage the company's advertising. We advertise heavily online to consumers. So SEO, pay-per-click, all of that falls under my responsibility. All website, social media is managed by myself and my team. Email campaigns to our current contractor base, marketing to our current contractors, that all falls under my responsibility. And then the other big part of the department is actually it's dealer services. And really what that means in a nutshell is any contractor who currently works with Lyon Financial ultimately falls under my responsibility. I approve all new contractors who apply to use our financing. I perform background checks, annual updates. I provide services to them if they have questions about our financing. We handle that. If they need promotional items, flyers, brochures, we handle that. If they want us to come visit and meet with their sales team, give any additional training, set up conference calls for training, things like that, I would be responsible for that.
Right. And is your marketing and your advertising towards your customers, is that pool builders? And we're going to get more into this, but I was curious if clients that want a pool built find you guys and then they need help finding a builder to build the pool because they've already got the financing for it.
Yeah, so there's a few ways. There's a lot of clients who come to us already for financing because they have a contractor who referred them to us, which is great. And then there's probably about 30 to 40% of customers just find us online. They think, wow, I can finance a new swimming pool or finance the remodel of my pool. This is great. Let me at least make sure I can get approved, and then I'll worry about finding a contractor or having someone come out and give me a bid. So we'll have clients who apply with us first, get pre-approved, and then they'll actually start shopping. We let the customer have full responsibility of selecting the contractor to perform their work. So they can either pick and choose from our dealer directory that we have, or they can find someone who doesn't work with us currently. And my dealer services department would work with that new potential contractor to get them set up with us.
Okay, thank you. Can you share a little bit about the history with us? Just because curious as to how a financial company finds this, niche in the swimming pool industry.
Yeah, most definitely. So Lyon Financial was founded by Richard Lyon. He goes by Dick Lyon. He started the company in 1979 out in California. He was born and raised in the West Coast. He had started the company, and how it worked at the time is he would secure financing with this homeowner, and he would pick up the checks and deliver it to the contractor. It was very small, very, very personal, driving around, delivering checks, things like that, taking paper applications, just very personal and hands-on. He was out in California up until the early 90s. He and his wife, Jody, relocated to North Carolina, and they started Lyon Financial on the East Coast to try to make the company a little bit larger, cater to more contractors and more customers on a larger scale.
Right. And I know a swimming pool, even at its cheapest, is still going to be pretty expensive. Can you share with us just how much of a demand there really is for pool financing?
Yeah, most definitely. So the company has grown quite a bit since I started in 2015. For example, in last year, 2019, we took about 30,000 applications from consumers nationwide. That equated to us actually financing about 12,400 and some change actual finished projects. That totaled about $760 million in pool loans that we financed last year alone.
Oh, wow. So a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of demand.
Yeah, there's a lot of customers, a lot of contractors we worked with. In 2018, we had taken a little under 26,000 and funded about $450 million. So over the last several years, we've done close to $2 billion in pool financing in just the last 2 years alone. I think due to, you look at a swimming pool and the cost incurred, the materials incurred, those costs are rising. It's become a lot more expensive products than it was 5-10 years ago. Plus, with the easy access to funds right now through our financing that we offer, a lot of consumers think that it's a very lucrative option, and therefore they come to us and choose to secure the funds through us.
And do you just finance in North America?
We do, in the continuous 48 states. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How well do you think the consumers are aware of this option being available?
I think with how much we have grown our marketing and advertising over the last couple of years, we've really just tried to promote, that Lyon Financial, with who we are and the services we offer, the financing options we offer, that we're here for you, the consumer. If you think traditionally about financing is defined as a method of using means to make either a purchase or some sort of business activity. And I think a lot of customers, they've realized over the years that instead of keeping or taking cash out of the bank or borrowing from 401k or using a traditional credit card or refinance of their home, they would rather look outside the box. They want to get online. They want to do their research before they make such a big investment. And then in a lot of cases, they find us at Lyon.
And it's pretty cool to have that option to finance such a big project. The availability of that is pretty awesome compared to back in the day where that wasn't an option. I think it gives people the luxury of, especially in this time of maybe staycations, that they have a different option available to them to actually build a home project, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, most definitely. I think especially with what's going on right now with COVID-19, a lot of customers are definitely wanting to build that backyard oasis. They don't want to leave their house. Many of them can't, so they want to go ahead and make that, do that research and go ahead and get started. But I think even over the last several years, with travel cost, things on the rise, that a lot of consumers really just want to make a lifestyle change. They want to build a swimming pool, the outdoor kitchen. They want to make memories with their children or with their grandchildren, and they want to do it in the easiest and most financially flexible way possible. So that's why a lot of clients come to us. A lot of clients like our services, and they use us.
Is there a minimum? Can somebody get finance for, say, just swimming pool equipment? Because that
Yes.
can easily go up to anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000, $15,000 worth of pool equipment.
Yeah, so we can finance really anything home improvement related, even though new pool construction is our specialty. Our minimum loan right now that we offer is $5,000. So that's usually great for if it's a liner pool, customer wants to replace their liner and do some upgrades to their equipment, or if it's another type of pool, upgrade equipment, add a special feature, other items that are specifically related to an already in-ground pool.
Yeah, that makes it a great option for even service companies to provide that option for their customers, I think is what you might be getting at, right? That's cool.
Yeah, and that's why we were, so excited to talk with you all, because when we had our pool service company, Brothers Pool Service, we got to the point where there was people that needed to do about $5,000 plus worth of upgrades to their pool equipment, and they didn't want to use the traditional credit card. They maybe didn't want to touch the savings or whatever it may be. And we ended up putting something on our website. And there was one time, I just feel like I failed miserably. But, I was so excited because we got it on the website, got the little iPad, and they were up for it. And it was just so many questions. It took so long. And I had like the brochures of the equipment and all this different stuff. But it just took so long to get an answer back that they ended up, I don't know if they ended up getting a check sent to them or whatever happened, but they definitely didn't get the equipment from us. And I was like, man, need to figure this out, because it's definitely, that is a big thing. A lot of, especially swimming pool equipment for us, it's one of those things that is just, it's on the side of the house. It's in the backyard. You don't see it. You might hear it. But when somebody tells you that you need to spend $5,000 on getting a new pump and filter and all these different things, that's something that people don't really plug into their budgets. So giving them, a resource to be able to finance this stuff, that's a really cool option.
We try to make it easy for both the consumer and the contractor too, to offer these options. I think the last thing you want to do, like in your instance, is get excited about offering financing, and then as it turns out, the financing makes it worse. The customer has a bad experience, or it takes too long to get an answer, or you are charged a fee or charged things outside the box that maybe you, the contractor, and the consumer weren't planning on. So I totally agree with you there. You want to offer the option, but you also want to offer the right option too.
Yeah. It's a good time with this COVID-19 for heaters. People want to swim in their pools earlier or swim later in the season. Heaters are $3,000 to $5,000, and you can get a couple upgrades on the pump and things too. That's a cool way to offer, I think, for your clients at this moment.
Oh yeah,
right.
Even a heat pump.
Yeah, heat
it's
pump.
A nice chunk of change right there.
Right.
We want to thank Pentair for supporting the show. As a podcast for pool professionals, we know that when you sell products, it's your reputation on the line. And when they are Pentair products, it's theirs as well. That's why Pentair's got your back with their trade grade program, which supports your business and reputation by offering exclusive tools and support for lead generation, attractive product rebates and longer warranties, and an unmatched expertise when it comes to accurate equipment selection, setup, and service. So to learn more about how trade grade protects, empowers, and helps your business grow, visit pentair.com/trade grade. That's pentair.com/trade grade, or click the link below.
So a lot of people might not know about financing, what you sort of explained a little bit. What is it exactly, and what are the different options out there?
Yeah, most definitely. So right now, I think traditionally, if someone wants to borrow $40,000 to $80,000 because they want a swimming pool and the whole 9 yards in their backyard, I think traditionally a consumer's going to think of one of four things. Number one, they're going to use cash. They have the money saved up. They're just going to take it out of a savings account. They may also want to refinance their home. They think that a traditional lending source will not give me amount of money that I'm looking for. And if they do, it's going to be across maybe 3 or 5 years, and I'm going to have a really high payment. So let me call my bank and let me refinance my house. That's a fairly popular option. I think there's a few cons with that. Number one is you have to have equity in your home if you're going to refinance. If you're a new homeowner or you don't have any equity, that's automatically out of the question. If you do have equity and you choose to refinance, that's great. It's a pretty aggressive rate because it's secured against your home. It's a refinance, but you also have a really long turnaround. You're averaging a 45-day close, and you have closing cost, appraisals, fees that are involved that you don't incur with someone like Lyon Financial. A third popular option is credit cards. A lot of consumers have really high credit line amounts. They're willing to put everything on a credit card and pay for it that way. Unfortunately, for contractors accepting credit card method of payment, you're going to incur merchant fees. So you're essentially paying to allow your customer to pay you via credit card. The fourth way that a consumer can finance a swimming pool is using a pool financing company. And there are a few out there in the industry. Each one is very different and unique in what they do. We at Lyon, we take great pride in customer service and being there for both the consumer and the contractor throughout the project. So those are really the 4 options they could choose from.
Right. Yeah, that's a good breakdown of all of those. And there are different loans out there, secured and unsecured. Can you explain what the difference is between those two?
Yeah, pretty much a secured loan is going to be secured against something. Most often is going to be against your home. Those can offer pretty aggressive interest rates, but that's because if you don't pay, they have something to lien to in order to get funds. An unsecured or a signature loan has no assets, no backing against it. It's a loan that's given to a consumer solely based on their credit score, good credit history, and then the amount of income they have coming in.
Yeah, and I saw here in the form the little F word. I'm assuming that's, financing. And there's, when people think of financing, they think of probably don't do it because it's got a very high interest rate, different things like that. Can you explain maybe why, people don't like to finance?
Yeah. So and I told Tyler that's my thing. Financing is a little F word that a lot of contractors throw out there, and either they think they have it all figured out and they know all about it, or they don't really know anything about it and they're just offering it as an option. I think, and I can say this because I see it on a daily basis, just because someone chooses to finance does not mean it's because they have to. It's true. A lot of, I would say, middle-class Americans maybe don't have $40,000 to $60,000 in the bank. They maybe have a couple of months worth of income saved up for emergencies, but they have great jobs. They have a good history of paying. They just don't actually have the cash. But who's to say that they can't go and build a pool for their kids and a house they're going to be in for the next, 10, 15 years. Another thing, too, is a lot of people finance who don't necessarily have to. They do have the income. They have the money saved up. They just choose to finance because it's a good investment. They can take the cash that they would have taken out of a 401k or a savings account. They could go and reinvest those funds and finance with someone like Lyon Financial because they can access the funds quickly, easily, with no fees or any other outside cost incurred. And be able to take the money they would have spent on the pool and use it for other things.
Yeah, I think typically when people hear financing, they are scared off a little bit and they look at it as maybe I shouldn't do this because I can't afford it. But a lot of reasons, like you just said, it's good to finance because you're not going in a deep hole just to get a project for your house or family. Because right now people really want to spend time with their families and kids and give these options of being the home that you come to and your kids come to and, making memories. I think that's really important to a lot of people, especially when something rocks the world like this, where people are realizing some of the more important things with their families. Getting this option to do that is cool because you get to make memories, but you're also not depleting your savings or taking out high interest loans. It's a cool option.
And you guys can probably answer a lot of questions people might have that pertain to a swimming pool or just the backyard experience, because you guys are sort of financing inside of this niche instead of maybe Bank of America or one of these big banks that will, anything that you bring to the table that you want financing for, they're really just going to give you a set amount of money at an interest rate, but they're not really going to deal with contractors. They're not going to do anything like that. It's really cool what you guys do, and being in this niche, I would think that would be much easier for us as professionals discussing that with the homeowner, that, we want to get you hooked up with a finance company that actually specializes in financing swimming pools, swimming pool equipment, all the different things to make your backyard this oasis that we're talking about.
Right. Yeah. And I think for most consumers and for most contractors, I mean, in terms of financing, again, there's some contractors who do have a negative connotation with it. I've had several guys personally tell me, well, if my customers to finance, they have no business building a pool, because if they're financing, they obviously don't have money and they're getting in debt. Shame on them. I mean, I've had guys tell me that. I don't feel that way. I think a lot of consumers just want to make that decision because it's ultimately what betters them. They can keep, like I said, their money, they can keep their cash and investments, or if they truly don't have the funds, maybe they only have $30,000, but they want to add, an outdoor kitchen and extra decking or a paver patio. Financing through us actually gives the contractor the ability to upsell that project and ultimately sell a higher bid. So I think that's also a great way too, from a contractor, how you can look at offering financing. So to speak to that point, I think that's another good point too.
And that's a good relationship to start off with you guys, because I feel like if I had a pool built, but maybe I wasn't ready to do something else in the backyard, maybe you could do it at another time where it's kind of seeing how this all goes and plays out. And it's like, you know what, maybe in a few years, I'm ready to kind of redo the backyard, get the new barbecue installed and all those different things.
Right. Yeah, we do have a lot of repeat customers. We have customers who built their first pool. They financed it through Lyon. 3 years later, they've moved and their new house does not have a pool. So they come to us again to finance that new pool. We don't have as many repeat customers as I would say a traditional business model, because most consumers, they're building a pool, they're staying in their home for a while. So I don't have repeat customers per se for homeowners. We have just the repeat contractors that we do a lot of business with. But yeah, we have customers, they can come and they can get a couple different loans with us. We have some customers who, because their front yard gets messed up with the pool being built, they'll finance their pool with us and 6 months later come back and finance landscaping and a new driveway because it got cracked or something like that. So
do you ever get to see the end product? Somebody gets a pool built or a backyard done. Do you ever get to see what it turned out like?
We get photos at every stage of the process for every single customer that we work with. So we'll have photos from excavation. We'll get photos once steel is done and gunite's being shot. We'll get photos when they're doing plaster, and then we'll get a final completion photo. Most of the lenders we work with don't even want the photos because they trust us at Lyon, but we at Lyon get it just to really keep a track on the customer, make sure things are going as planned. So we love getting these photos. We get so many fun ones, happy ones. We actually take them and share them on social media a lot of times too. So we get every single one of the 12,400 projects we did last year. We have up to 3 or 4 photos on each one of them.
Wow, so that's really cool. And who submits those photos? The builder?
Either the builder or the customer. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. You get to see the end product. It's also a good way to protect you, I think as well, so you can see the different stages.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's why we at Lyon is really, and I know we'll get to this, but why we do what we do. This is why we have some of the most aggressive terms and interest rates out there for consumers, is because the exclusive lenders that we work with, they trust us and know that we are going to partner with this customer until the project is completed. If a customer has a completed pool, they didn't get left in the middle of construction by someone who shysted them out of money and left the job. They're going to finish that pool. They're going to be so happy and they're going to make their monthly payment. So the lenders are really happy about that. They'll continue to do business with us at Lyon and give us really the most aggressive lending options out there in the industry. So that way we continue to provide our services for consumers and contractors.
Yeah. And you were talking about different interest rates. Can you explain maybe how the interest rates are determined?
Yeah, most definitely. So, say with a traditional secured loan, the interest rates could, I'm just going to speak generally, could be a couple of points to up to 6% because the loan is secured by some sort of item, which is most commonly the consumer's home. Our interest rates are structured a bit differently because all of our loans are signature or unsecured loans. So that means we are not using the customer's home as collateral. Interest rates are going to be determined specifically by the consumer's credit score and then also DTI or debt to income ratio. That's how much money the customer is coming in versus their debts going out. Usually we like to see 50% or less. Right now, I offer the longest terms. I offer term options of anywhere between 3, 10, 15, and 20-year terms. Interest rates will vary based on credit score. My most popular option right now is 6.99%. That is for a 20-year term. This is a signature loan, no prepayment penalties, so customers can pay them off early at any time. They're not charged for any pre-computed interest or additional interest.
So when you say 6.99, what is the average interest rate for, something like that?
Yeah, so I would say the 6.99%, that is for our A borrower. That's for someone who has excellent credit. Our interest rates can vary. I would say most common is anywhere between 7 and 12%. That's for just the average borrower. Some people will say, wow, my customer got a 12% interest rate. I can't believe it. That's so high. Well, what they don't understand is it's for 240 months. It's for a 20-year term loan. So the customer maybe has a higher interest rate than, say, a short-term personal loan, but they're also stretching the loan out across 20 years. So that way they still have a low fixed monthly payment. If you compare our swimming pool loan to a personal loan at a traditional bank, like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, or a local credit union, a customer could walk in and ask for $60,000, and they might get approved for it. But the interest rate could be anywhere between 5 and 10%, and the term will be 5 years. And if you do the math, the customer's monthly payment is going to be double what they would have gotten with us at Lyon at a 20-year term. So you really have to break it down and look at the whole picture when you're looking at an interest rate versus a term, and then versus the services that you're actually getting with Lyon.
Right. And I'm sure that, if you get a little bit of a higher interest rate, you could always reapply maybe some years down the road. Can people do that?
So once the consumer has a loan with us, they cannot reapply to lower that interest rate. But because there's no prepayment penalties, on average, 75% of our customers pay off their loan within 5 years or less anyways. So a lot of consumers will just pay it off with cash, or they will refinance their home and use the refi proceeds to pay off our loan, or they could get a big bonus or something else at the end of the year and pay down on the loan that way too.
The average person too is really concerned with, the monthly payment is probably where that decision is made to a lot of people. You're budgeting for, what you can afford, and, that's the most important piece for a lot of people, I'm sure.
Right.
I'm not sure does the value of the home go up when a swimming pool is added to the backyard, and how is that determined?
I think that's like what came first, the chicken or the egg. I mean, I've heard so many different things. There's a lot of people who sell a swimming pool and say it's an investment, it's an enhancement to the home. It may raise the value of your home some, but you're definitely not going to get the full price out of it. So if you build a $60,000 pool, $60,000 is not added to the value of your home. I know that for sure. I also think it depends on the area you're in too. If you're in somewhere like Florida or California or even Texas, I mean, almost everyone has a pool in their backyard. It's pretty normal. When you get to other areas like here in the South, where we're located, and even maybe Northeast, a pool is not as common. Some people may actually see it as a negative because they have to pay maintenance cost and startup, and just the maintaining of the pool itself is a cost. So I think it does add some value to the home. It's not as much as what you paid for it, but I think it does have some value, and it ultimately adds a feature to the home that many people who want that lifestyle are looking for.
Right. And it definitely makes it more appealing if you were ever to sell your home. You're looking at a house with no pool, and then you look at a house with a beautiful pool, backyard, maybe a pool fence, up-to-date equipment, stuff like that. That definitely, especially if you have kids, they're definitely going to want to go with the house with the awesome backyard and pool.
Right.
Yeah. And especially in like a Sunbelt state, I think it's very important. I know in Arizona, it definitely, the pools with homes sell quicker. They bring more value because people want that option when it's 115 degrees.
It's crazy if
Right.
you see a house without a pool here. It's like, when did you get the pool removed?
Right. Or when you get it kind of filled in. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think in the Northeast, you're right, because our brother-in-law and sister-in-law is from Connecticut, and some of those people, they look at those pools. A lot of them don't want to get a house with a pool because it's a huge expense or something. There's a different mindset depending on where you're at, for sure.
Right. Yeah, I think for the most part, though, so many consumers just see it as it's such a positive thing. A pool is technically considered a luxury item. It's, kind of like an RV or other recreational vehicle. It's not a necessary home improvement. So you really have to treat it differently. And that's why we found this niche and what we do. It's really about building that lifestyle, creating those memories, in that backyard where you don't have to leave and go to the community pool in your neighborhood or go to a lake or something where you're at if you even have one. So I think, maybe there's not that monetary value you get from it, but you definitely have that emotional value from it because you know that you're going to use it.
Right.
Yeah, I think you save a lot of money in the long run, too, because if you go to Disney World or Disneyland with 2 kids and a family, like, you're spending $20,000 easy to be around thousands and thousands of people waiting in lines, and not really, even if it's a water park, it's like not as convenient and fun as a pool.
Especially if you got 2 daughters. Do you know how much them little dresses cost at Disneyland?
Yeah.
We don't. We have boys, but...
Yeah, I
You
have
guys
3
hiring?
boys.
Can I be
And
Mickey Mouse or Goofy for a few days so I can help out with some of this?
yeah, Disney's expensive. I actually went to Disney when I was in Florida for the Everything Under the Sun Expo. So
yeah.
my 2 assistant managers and I were at Disney without any kids, and we had a blast. But we spent quite a bit of money in the 8 hours we were there. So, people, these vacations, people usually save up for them and they go, and it's a blast. But especially when you start having a family or as you get older in age, it's not that easy to go hop on a plane and go travel somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe especially with everything that's going on right now, you can't travel, you can't go anywhere. So, why not take advantage of it and just hunker down at home and make it everything that you guys could want and then some. I think that's the mindset of a lot of people right now.
Yeah. Might get a call from me one day, see if finance some nachos and some stuff at Disneyland.
Yeah.
So I'm really racking it up over here at Disneyland.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked at my credit card statement after that trip and I was like, man, I shouldn't have done that. But, 'cause it's like $20 for a sandwich and stuff. But,
Oh, yeah.
we had fun. So
Even
it
the
is what it is.
smallest things that you think like, you know what, I'm just going to do this. This will only be $5-10. It's like, yeah, it's $50 or something. Like, what the hell? I just need one.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a keychain for my son when we were at Epcot. It was like $12. I was like, it's a keychain,
Yeah.
but
I know.
it is what it is.
When we were at the Everything Under the Sun, Colin and I were walking around Universal Studio area, and we were like, man, maybe we should just go into Universal for a few hours and have some fun. And I walked up there, it was like $169 per person. And I was like, nope.
Yeah.
I ain't doing that. Sorry, Kyle.
Great business. People pay it.
Right.
Well, it's that time of year again. PoolRx is having their spring big sale event. That means it is time for you to stock up for the summer. When we were running Brothers, this was one of our favorite times of the year. We got a discount on the product, but more importantly, we were setting our pools up to be successful and reducing chemical usage, which saved us a ton of time and money. Let me tell you a little bit more about the product. PoolRx eliminates and prevents all types of algae, reduces chlorine demand, and lasts up to 6 months. With PoolRx, there is no need for phosphate removers, clarifiers, or other algicides. While using PoolRx, you will see high-definition water clarity.
I mean, these pools just pop. Right now, you can get $15 off a 4-pack of blue units and $17.50 off a 4-pack of black units at your favorite distribution location. The sale ends April 30th, so get them while you can. If you want to find out more about the product and how we used it for our company, please go listen to episode 8 of the podcast, and you can also visit poolrex.com by clicking the link below. So let's get back to the process of the loans. If I'm a homeowner seeking a loan for my pool and I come into the office or I call you guys, what does the process look like?
Yeah, for sure. So we definitely encourage consumers, if they have questions, call us. Customer service is our number one priority. With most people wanting to borrow this much money, they definitely want to call and speak to someone before actually filling out an application. So definitely encourage the consumer to call us or go ahead and apply online. What happens next is we have different departments and teams who handle the customer's application really until their project's finished. Every single application we receive at Lyon Financial is personally reviewed by someone in our applications department. So what we're doing is we're looking for ways to approve this homeowner versus just turning them down. Whether that be we feel that this homeowner, they need a co-applicant, we'll call them and ask if they have one, and if so, get that information. Sometimes customers fat finger the application, they mess up. They put their job title as vice president of operations and say that they make $1,000 a month. Well, common sense tells me that's probably not correct. So we'll call them and verify information if we need it. We then send the application to one of the 7 lenders that we work with. We at Lyon, we do not make the loans. The exclusive lending partners we work with, they actually make the loan and hold the loan. So we'll submit their application to a lender. They'll look at it and typically give us a decision same day or within 24 hours. When we have an approval for the customer, we call them and email them. We tell them congratulations, tell them the interest rate, term, how much money they were approved for. We'll tell them what exactly we need. Usually that's a pay stub dated within the last month, last year's W-2, and a copy of the driver's license in most cases. If you're self-employed, we may ask for some tax returns, but it's overall a very simple process. Once we've reviewed your income and we know you didn't lie a lot about how much money you made, your loan is ready to go. You just send us a copy of your pool contract with a approved contractor of Lyon Financial, someone who is a current vendor of ours who we do business with, and then you sign your loan documents and you're ready to start construction.
What if they want to use somebody that's not quite approved with Lyon yet? Can they do that process with you to get them approved?
Yeah, we set up on average anywhere between 60 to 100 new contractors a month because consumers want to use ABC pools somewhere and we don't currently work with them, but this consumer really wants to use them. So that's actually part of my department's responsibility is we reach out to this contractor. We say, hey, listen, your customer came to us for financing. Have you heard of us? Here's how we work. Do you want to get set up? So we go over the process with them. We review in detail how we work. The contractor would then fill out a 1-page, really an application information form. I do a brief background and typically have that contractor set up within a day or two. So I actually talk to a lot of different contractors every month. So that's one of the good things too, is we're constantly growing our contractor network because these consumers find Lyon and they want to use the guy down the street, but he doesn't work with us. So that's one of my responsibilities as well.
Yeah. And I'm assuming if anybody, a pool builder, pool service, any one of those wants to recommend Lyon Financial or put it on their website or anything like that, do you recommend them reaching out and kind of getting that relationship established and kind of the best practices for even just talking about services that you guys provide? Do you recommend that for people?
Yeah, certainly. I definitely encourage anyone who has questions. The way we've done business has definitely evolved over the last several years. So there may be contractors who worked with us 5-6 years ago and things are a lot different now. Definitely call us, send us an email. I have 6 employees in the dealer services department dedicated solely to our contractors, answering questions, getting them an account set up with us. So it's very simple. I encourage everyone, they can more than happy to reach out to them and talk to them for sure.
Nice.
And you have like materials and different ways to give them options?
Yes. So what we do now, and we're really hands-on in our approach with both the consumer and the contractor. If someone wants to offer financing, really they don't know where to start. They don't want to talk about interest rates or terms with the customer because you may say the wrong thing, customer doesn't maybe qualify for that and they get mad at you. So my biggest thing is, a lot of our contractors just say, hey, call Lyon. So what we do is we provide the contractor flyers, brochures, pamphlets, payment charts. We provide services such as, our videos, a how-to on applying and how we work. We are an open book. We share that with all of our contractor base once they set up a new account with us. And then as you go through the year and you need more materials or you need something from us, just call us and we'll be more than happy to get that handled. So,
right. For all the builders and people that you deal with, the ones that are getting the best results in terms of, just communicating it to their clients and whatnot, what are they doing exactly? Which all resources that you offer are they putting into their business to become successful in actually people getting money for their build?
right. So because we offer the longest terms and the lowest rates right now, it's a pretty easy sell for contractors. They just say, hey, call Lyon. They have terms up to 20 years. It'll be a low monthly payment for you. Give them a call. And then usually a lot of our contractors, especially beginning of the year, they'll ask for like several hundred or even 1,000 flyers and brochures. They go ahead and make up their promotional packets that they hand out to new potential customers at bids and say, hey, if you are interested in financing, I do have a preferred partner. I have several preferred partners. Here they are. Give them a call. I think a lot of contractors, we pride ourselves on our partnership with them. They know that they can just direct the customer to us. We have about 50 employees. So anytime someone has a question, if they call us during business hours, their call will be answered within a couple of rings. They know that they can just direct that customer to a live representative who can answer their questions and really answer their questions like that. I think the last thing you want to do is if a customer asks of you a financing option, say, I don't, call your local bank and see what they do. A customer may do that and then realize that, oh, I can only get approved for like 20 grand and it's a 5-year term and that doesn't meet my needs. I'll just wait. I think if you have the customer call like someone like Lyon and you, the contractor, you can call me. I have contractors who call me all day long and say, hey, what's going on with this application? Or where are we at with this guy and this person? And I'll tell you and we'll work together to get them going and get the project started.
Right. And do you have stuff that people can put on their website? Is there stuff like that can go out in a email blast? Because I know even with the invoices that we would send out or emails to our customers when we had our pool service business where we would recommend new equipment, is there little things that can put in their signature? Do you recommend anything like that? Because it could be just sort of talk about breadcrumbs and the breadcrumb trail of how we can do that. So ways of always putting it out there where that is an option, where you might see this, I'm recommending this, and it might be $5,000 to $8,000, but you don't have to just pay cash or using a credit card. We do have a partner that offers financing. So do you guys have any assets or things that people can use to put on website or for email blast or something?
Yeah, for sure. We have graphics. We have little blurbs that we share with contractors that they can use. I think especially when you're bidding new pool construction or even a remodel equipment, I think a lot of contractors just assume the consumer is paying cash. And I think it's important, especially if you're bidding a job and you're spending all this time with the consumer, is ask them, how are you paying? Not necessarily well, how are you paying for this? My recommendation to many contractors, if they ask me for it, is I say, ask the customer how they're paying. Say, listen, here's the bid, here's what I can do for you. I'm not sure how you're going to pay for this, but I do offer financing if you're interested. I'm more than happy to share more information. I also take cash, check, credit card, kind of sell it in a almost like in a passive way. And then the customer could say, well, I plan on paying cash for this. Or they could say, no, well, tell me more about your financing and what is that? What kind of terms and rates are there? Contractor can just hand them a pamphlet or a flyer about Lyon Financial, what we offer. Customer can go ahead and apply online, or they could just call us first if they have questions and get the process started from there.
Right. Thank you. I'm thinking now, when there's kind of a bidding war going on sometimes, if there's a way to communicate that you've given information to a certain homeowner so that if they do contact you, it's kind of tied to that company in case they might forget that, maybe somebody that wants a pool built or something doesn't remember the name of your company. But do you have a system in place or something to where when they're calling and asking questions, it's tied to that builder or that service company? If that makes sense.
So if it's just an inbound phone call, they usually tell us who they're using. But on our application, so when someone actually applies, they do tell us what contractor they plan on using. And as long as that's someone who's a part of our network already, I actually tell them and update them on what's going on with their customer. So say if Joe Smith applies and he's approved, I will tell his contractor, Allen Smith Pools or whoever it is, I'll say, hey, guess what? Your customer is pre-approved with us. Send in the copy of the signed contract when you can. So if a customer actually applies, we do keep in touch with the contractor and keep them updated on the loan status. So that way they can help too in staying up to date on what's going on. So if a customer calls in, it's hard to keep track because, we could probably take anywhere between 200 to 500 calls a day. But if a customer does actually apply and we know who their contractor is, we will keep them updated throughout the process.
Nice. Probably a good idea to staple your business card to that pamphlet too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
For sure.
And I know we've talked a lot about how you guys are different, but maybe we can just specifically ask, and you can list all the different ways that Lyon Financial is actually unique and different than other pool financing options that are out there.
Yeah, most definitely. So there's a lot of pool financing companies out there, and a lot of them just give the funds direct to the customer. For a lot of consumers, that's okay. For some consumers, that's a good option. They get the cash in hand. The biggest difference with us at Lyon Financial is, unlike everyone else, we actually pay the contractor directly in installments throughout the project. We don't give the money to the customer. This creates a partnership with the consumer and the contractor for anywhere between a month to 6 months until this project is completed. A lot of consumers, if they go to a traditional or another type of pool financing company, they're usually being charged some sort of fee in order to obtain the funds. And then the customer essentially turned into a cash customer. For some customers, that's a good option. So say, for example, if a customer goes with another pool financing option and they get the cash in hand, they've paid a fee, they've gotten the cash from this other pool financing company, there's a very good chance that that customer could change their mind. They may not want to build a pool anymore. They may realize, I really need to pay off this debt, or let's take that dream vacation we never took, or something could happen. Another thing too is they may still want the pool, but they may want to change the design and not have it cost so much. They may say, well, I have this $60,000, could really use $10,000 to do this. Maybe we can work with the designer and change the price of the pool. Another big thing too is when a consumer has the cash, they're making the payments to the contractor. And for most contractors, that's great. But if you get into contractors who may not be of good quality and who maybe take advantage of a homeowner, talk the homeowner out of more funds up front, and then they leave the job, unfortunately, that still happens. Even in today's age, there's still contractors or pool unprofessionals who go out there and they take money from customers and they don't actually finish the job. Gives the industry a bad rep. There's one of these guys in almost every county and every state out there. With us here at Lyon and how we work, customer never gets cash from us. All payments are dispersed directly to the contractor in installments throughout the project. That's why those pictures come in. The customer or the contractor sends us photos at each stage. The customer authorizes the release of the funds, and then funds are ACH'd to that contractor directly promptly. This way, the contractor knows where his money is coming from.
Real quick, I'm curious on that note, how frequent is the builder cut a check from you guys? Do they get to pick, what day in the month? Because I know they're usually using that money to pay subcontractors to doing different phases of the pool build. I'm just curious, when would they expect? Is it, once a month, every 2 weeks?
No, it's usually within 2 business days of us receiving. We receive the photo, and then the customer authorizes the funds through an electronic form. And then usually within 2 days after that, the contractor would have his funds, an immediate thing. So that way he can go ahead and pay subcontractors or order materials or do things with the funds. He gets paid promptly at that particular phase.
Oh, all of the money? I thought it was broken up.
No, it is broken up. So say if someone's, it's a $50,000 pool, say it's a concrete pool, the contractor would get 25% of the funds at excavation, 25% of the funds at gunite, 25% usually at tile coping or when the decking's poured, depending on the scope of work. And then the last 25% is at completion. So at each phase, to actually get his funds, he just sends us a photo, and then the customer authorizes the funds, and then he has his money within a couple business days after that.
Very cool. And what if you don't get a picture?
We have to have a picture. There's a few guys that we do a lot of business with that they still send us the photos. We just don't have the customer authorize the funds because we trust them. We know that they're not going anywhere. These are guys that we do $20-30 million a year in finance business with, but we always get a photo. Just so that way we can keep track with the customer too. We know where they're at with the process. We've had a few guys a few years ago who sent us fake photos. They're building a pool down in Tennessee and they're sending us photos with palm trees and sand in the background. And we're like, no, this isn't right. So we have to have the photos and the authorization from the customer, but we get the builder paid as fast as we can, which is usually a couple of days after that.
I think that is really cool because if, say it's protecting the builder and the homeowner if subcontractors coming out to do shotcrete or gunite or anything like that and they don't show up or they get halfway through and they stop or whatever happens, you could actually hold up those funds instead of all the money being in one place where they might have paid the sub beforehand and they just walked away from a job. So I think that's a really, really good idea.
Yeah, and that I think is one of the biggest reasons why we are so successful and why so many consumers come to us is because we are involved until the project's done. There's a lot of consumers going back to the beginning of the podcast where they don't have to finance. I have seen customers apply with us who make $100,000 a month. They don't need to finance. They have the money, but they choose to use us because of the services we offer. Unfortunately, because of how much business we do and how active we are in the country, seems like almost every month someone's going out of business or someone has done something and there's customers left hanging. We had a situation just a couple months ago. Someone in Florida went out of business and we had about 12 projects under construction. That was just our projects. The contractor had another probably half dozen who paid cash, and he got those customers who paid cash to go ahead and give him the money. And they were SOL. They didn't have any money left to build a pool. The consumers who were financing through us, they only had so many payments paid out as per where they were with the construction. So thankfully, we still had enough funds for them to go find another contractor to finish the job. Those negative instances, they don't happen often, but when they do, then that just kind of really reiterates what we do at Lyon and how much value we offer the consumer, especially in a day and age where some businesses, things happen, and ultimately we're protecting the consumer and that contractor as well in that particular situation.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best selling points in aligning them with the right finance company to get a loan for their build is explaining everything you just said. To me, if I need a loan of that amount of money for one of my projects, that's a good peace of mind knowing that no matter what, everything is going to be okay.
Right. Yeah. And that's, again, that partnership. And sometimes contractors, I'll talk to new contractors who've never heard of us before, and they'll say, well, why don't you just give the money to the customer? And it's, I explain really what I just said is, it's ultimately to protect you and that consumer, just in case anything were to go wrong, we're here. And then they'll tell me a story. They'll say, yeah, there was a so-and-so down there, in another county who just got popped for doing this and this. And, and unfortunately it still happens. So with consumers, even if they don't have to finance with us, they have the money. but they like that peace of mind and having that partnership. So having us involved until we have that final picture of them swimming in their pool and their kids are smiling, that means a lot to a lot of consumers.
Yeah, it gives the contractor peace of mind too, knowing that their funds are there and that the customer didn't lie and say they have them and didn't and continued a project that they couldn't afford. So there's a lot of security on both sides. It's really cool that you guys do that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we try to go the extra mile for both the consumer and the contractor. I think a lot of traditional banks and other pool financing companies, they don't want to deal with the contractor. They don't want to do all this work. They don't want to talk to the customer, talk to the contractor, and check in on construction, see how things are going. They just want to give the money to the customer and say, have a great day. I'll see you later. And we want to be as hands-on as possible. We want to be there for that consumer and for that contractor. If something's going on, we'll do what we can to help both sides, and really whatever we can do to get a finished project, we'll make sure we get it done.
Yeah, and you and I have had several conversations in your team, and just your customer service is very important to you, and every time you guys talk with us, that's one of the main points you touch base on, and I think that really shows.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not necessarily just the bad apples for the contractors. I mean, there's customers too. And I know I told you several of these stories in Florida, but, I've had instances where consumers are being picky and maybe they don't want to sign off on that last payment to the contractor. They want to nitpick something that is considered warranty work or something that just shouldn't be held up for final funding for. We deal with that quite often as well. And we really do try to go above and beyond for each contractor in that phase. We work with them and that customer to work out any issues there could be. We really do try to go above and beyond for all parties. And that's, again, go back to that partnership piece and really why we do what we do.
Yeah. So I know we've talked about a lot of the different options, the different types of loans that you guys do, but can you just specifically tell the listeners what are all the different types of loans and options that you guys do offer?
Yeah, most definitely. So as of right now, our core specialty is the long-term signature loan. That's a term choice the consumer has to choose either a 12, 15, or 20-year term. It's a loan minimum of $5,000. And as of right now, we'll finance up to $100,000. We also have a short-term rate special going on right now, and I just got word it's until the end of April. It's 2.99% for 3 years only. It has to be a loan of $50,000 to $75,000 in most cases. It's great for the customer who maybe would pay cash but wants a really low interest rate to invest that cash he would have paid for a pool. These are all signature or unsecured loans, which means there's no collateral, no assets involved. We're solely looking at the customer's credit score, their overall history, making sure they have good credit history, not a lot of derogatory marks, and then also looking at their debt to income ratio. So how much money they have coming in versus debts going out. As long as it's 50% or less, in most cases, we have some options for them.
Thank you. So Sarah, is there anything that you want to end this topic with, what's separating, Lyon Financial from other pool finance companies?
Yeah, for sure. So Lyon, again, we've been around for over 41 years. We pride ourselves on a true partnership with both the consumer, the homeowner, and then that contractor. So we pride ourselves on that customer service and that relationship. We've been around for the longest time. Not only is our customer service second to none, and our project management involvement until the project is done, but because we offer awesome, great rates and the longest terms and the best options right now that's catered to pool consumers, I really just think that it's part of why we're so successful, why we're continuing to be around for a long time in the years to come. We have so many great things going on right now with, especially even with what's going on with the COVID-19, we actually have seen a gain in applications. We're up about 20%. Consumers looking for pool financing, actually. So just a lot of great takeaways, especially with what's going on right now in the industry. There's some pluses for sure of what's going on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think there's definitely pluses to find in quite a few places, and we just got to try to remain positive and look for those. What do you think is the biggest takeaway you want the industry to get from this episode?
So for us at Lyon and with what we do, I mean, we'll finance new pool construction. That's our specialty. But if it comes down to a hot tub, equipment repair, remodeling of a pool, another outdoor home improvement, a lot of our pool contractors and people we do business with are kind of a one-stop shop. They do it all. So whether you're a smaller remodeling and service company or you're a large new builder, we do have financing options for your clients. More than happy to review our options with you, see what's going to work best for your business model, and just see what we can do to help grow your business and offer the best financing options out there.
Awesome. Thank you. Where can people find more information about you and follow you on your social channels?
Most definitely. So people can contact us on our website at lyonfinancial.net. We're also very active on social media. So you can go to our Facebook page and also our Instagram account, Lyon Financial Pool Loans. We're also on Twitter. So if you have questions, just want to check us out, feel free to go there. You can DM us, contact us online, send us a message, whatever you want to do to get more information. We'll be happy to reach out to you and talk to you more about us.
Awesome. We really enjoy working with you and your team, and thank you so much for the support, and we're excited to continue this relationship forward, and we appreciate you joining us on the podcast today.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. We, again, the pools industry, that's our niche. We've been around for a long time. We're going to continue to be around. Whatever we can do to help better the industry and keep everyone moving forward in a positive and growing direction, that's what we're here for.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for checking out this episode. If you want to find out more about our guest or the sponsors of the show, you can check them out on the links we have provided in the write-up below. We have also provided links to our social media platforms, so please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Our tag is Pool Chasers. If the podcast has brought you any value, please do what you can to support us through our Patreon page by going to patreon.com/poolchasers. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to be updated each time a new episode is released. One last thing. If you're not yet in our Facebook group, join it today to be surrounded by like-minded individuals who are all trying to better the industry. Thank you all for the support. We appreciate your time and your ear.
See you out there, pool chasers.